LiveView, which I would like to say is the future of single-page app development, and that's right, I've said it. I really do want to make this claim, which I think is bold. LiveView is going to change the way that we develop single-page apps, that we develop for the web, period. I think it's going to do that because now we get to stay as developers fully focused on the server, on the back end. So this means that it's going to be easier to write, test, deploy, and observe single-page apps, and that means that our teams are going to be able to build apps that are super interactive, that are stable, that ship faster than pretty much anything you've seen before when you're dealing with kind of splitting things up between the client and the server. And just like we were saying, that Elixir lets teams be really productive, LiveView enabling teams to be super productive at web development, at single page app, at interactivity is a really big deal. LiveView is it's the perfect fit.
Every certain block of time, programming languages, kind of rise and fall. There's a bigger block of time and programming paradigms rise and fall. And the programming paradigms are not just around languages like object-oriented or functional programming. They're also this idea of, do you have something that's more batch focused, like we package up everything for a request and then we send down a response. And then that kind of shifted to like a client server focus. And that kind of shifted back up to a batch focus on the web, where we had to basically give our applications this lobotomy, right? Make them forget, so that every individual request would be the same. And then that kind of shifted back. If you were Google, you could make these beautiful applications like Maps and Gmail that had all this data flying back and forth, but you did that on the strength of this massive engineering team, and you could just throw bodies at the problem until it was beautiful. But individuals were left out of this idea of a single page app, and we tried to patch it all these different ways. But with LiveView, we're doing it by pushing this conversation back into the infrastructure, just as we did when we went from client server into the request response web. And I think that that's going to lead to just an incredibly powerful way of thinking, where it's not all about going from two languages in JavaScript and Elixir to one, but that's part of it. It's not all about all these tiny little tasks that you have to do to make each individual task work, but it's part of it. It's not about putting your brain in one place, but that's a huge part of it, right? It's all of these things.
LiveView doesn't just bring you an abstraction around WebSockets, it brings all of the awesome power of Elixir and the Beam to web development in a way that allows you to, yes, build interactive websites, but that scale, that are reliable, that are massively powerful, and that are crazily fault tolerant. Like we said, you're not going to bring down everything with like one really expensive computation. And that's something that hasn't existed yet. See you guys next time on Beam Radio.